You know, I've never seen this one in 3D, but man, does this movie want you to know that it's in 3D. Hello everyone, this is the third entry of the 13 for the 13th, and we're taking a look at Friday the 13th Part 3. Released in 1982, this is the third entry in the series, and this one decided to go the 3D route. I'm sure it was neat whenever it came out, but it's just kind of nowadays since you can't really watch it in 3D for the most part, at least from what I've gathered. This one is famous for one, kind of ditching the whole camp counselor and really just camp thing in general, as this just takes place around the homes of Crystal Lake. And of course, this is the movie where Jason gets his now iconic hockey mask. And sort of the, I guess you could say, typical look of Jason. You know, the dark work shirt, the jeans. He's bald with usually no hair. This one has no hair, but occasionally they do add it to him. This one takes place directly after Part 2, with Jason leaving the little shack that he had the shrine to his mother in, finds some clothes, kills some people, and goes to hide out in a barn that is next to the house of this movie's unfortunate group of teens. The main character is a character called Kris, and this is her family's, I guess, lake home. I can't remember exactly what she says about it, but her and her friends go there just, you know, have a good time, relax, hang out, have fun, but they are slowly stalked and picked off one by Jason, and they have to deal with a pesky group of bikers that got pissed off at some of the characters. And that's pretty much the story. Just take the story of the first two and just subtract the camp element to it, which I do miss that kind of stuff, but I don't really mind this either, as it is similar. It's just not specifically a camp. There's still cabins and stuff on the lake, so it's kind of whatever. All right, characters in the movie. I'll start off with the man himself, Jason. He's great in the movie, played by the great Richard Brooker, and I've always liked the physicality of this Jason and the look. The hockey mask in this movie is great. Jason's real good in this movie. I like him a lot. This is, again, sort of where we get the start of normal Jason, I guess you could say, and what is sort of the typical view of how people see Jason Voorhees. Kris is a pretty decent main character. She can be a tad bland, but she's okay. I think she's played very well. She's a pretty decent final girl, not as good as Jenny, but she's fine. My only issue with her is she has encountered Jason in the past, which one is a little weird just because she didn't die, and two, Jason doesn't look like his Part 2 self, since this would have been even before Part 2, and three, it implies some things that Jason may or may not have done to her. It doesn't say anything, it's just kind of implied, and even then I would say a little loosely, and it's just weird because it's not something that Jason is known for or has ever done before or since, so this whole thing was a little weird to possibly imply that stuff. You have her sort of love interest, Rick. I don't know, he's just kind of there. He doesn't really bug me. I like Vera a lot. She's fine. I like Debbie and Andy a decent bit. Andy gets one of the best kills in the movie. There's Shelly, who I simultaneously like and dislike, because I do kind of feel for the guy to a degree, but he's also not really helping himself out with just being kind of weird all the time and pranking people. And it's like, dude, they don't like this. Like, I get it that it might be your thing, but maybe chill out just a little bit. And of course, Shelly has the now famous hockey mask, and Jason gets it from him. There's Chili, who, she has one of the most infamous scenes in probably the whole franchise, just known for, in all honesty, really bad acting, and it is quite funny. There are the bikers. They're just kind of there to add to the body count. I mean, what characters in these movies aren't, aside from maybe the final girl? With Ali being the only one to really survive, like, the second scene that they're in. And even then, he shows up later just to die immediately. So it hardly even counts. Also, as a quick note, we have a discount Crazy Ralph here. Don't really like this guy. He's just being weird for the sake of it. And I feel like he's just not nearly as good as a "you're all gonna die" type dude as Crazy Ralph was. Now, on to the kills, and I think this movie has some pretty good ones. There are two in particular that I like a lot. My favorite probably being Andy's death when he's doing the handstand after walking out of the bathroom, and Jason just brings the machete down through the crotch, and that's a rough one. Especially later on when Debbie sees his body in like the rafters, and you get a pretty decent shot of all the gore and stuff. Like, that one's rough. And then Vera's death with the spear gun, which is the first kill that Jason gets with the hockey mask. Love it. I think it's pretty good because she's pretty confused. He's pretty nonchalant about just aiming a spear gun at her head. Gets it through the eye, falls over in the lake. And of course, this has been talked about many times, but just the way that Jason just drops the spear gun and just casually walks off is pretty funny, whether it was intentional or not. And then another, I would say, infamous one is when Rick dies by getting his skull crushed and his eye pops out, but that one's infamous because the practical effects do not look good. I would say even back then, it didn't look good. It's not a case of, oh, it just didn't age well. Like, no, like you can see the string that helps the eye pop out and everything. Otherwise, I would say everything else is kind of your standard slasher movie stuff. One thing I do want to note though is I really like the big chase scene at the end with Kris. I think Kris puts up a pretty decent fight with Jason. All the places they kind of run around and the way she fights back at him. She gives him the famous axe mark in the mask whenever she plants an axe into his head. That's a great bit. And I also really enjoy Jason's unmasked face in this. I should have mentioned that earlier, but I really like his unmasked face in this movie. And another thing with the 3D, man, it does suck that I don't think there's an easy way to watch this movie in 3D because there are so many things where it is just in your face. This is 3D. Whether it's a yo-yo coming at you, a pole coming at you, Jason with an axe in his head coming at you. It's definitely in your face, but of course, a lot of the more gimmicky, older 3D movies were like that, so can't really blame it for just kind of being what was kind of expected of a 3D thing at that time. On the whole, this is a pretty basic slasher movie, which I mean, most of these are, but I do think it has a pretty big legacy in that we start to get the Jason that everyone knows, and of course we get the iconic look for the character, and some kills in this movie that rank as some of the franchise's best. For me, this movie, it's not the best Friday the 13th, but it's certainly not the worst either. Like, it's average, it's fine. You can have a good time watching it, just obviously don't expect too much from this one. But on the whole, I do recommend Friday the 13th Part 3, if for nothing else than just seeing Jason first get the hockey mask. As always, thank you for watching and listening, and please stay tuned for more 13 for the 13th, where tomorrow we'll be taking a look at, spoiler alert, quite possibly the best Friday the 13th and Friday the 13th, the final chapter. I'll see you then, and thanks for watching.